Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whenever you're checking out this video, whatever time of day it is or night for you. I hope everything is going well for you and you're safe. My name is Omar Ford. I am the managing editor of MD+DI, an online publication that covers the medical device and diagnostics industry. And it's been a while since I've done one of these, but if you can recall, one of the big holdups that we had was I was waiting for my desk to come in because we just moved into a spot in May, and finally got my desk, finally got my setup. So we are ready to go on that. I have my office set up. I just have to decorate so you all don't see these white walls all the time. So there'll be some things coming up there. My wife is always saying, you got to have background. It's all about the background. It's all about the stage presence. You know, you have to have that. So definitely we'll be working on that. So as I do more of these, you'll start to see decorations pop up and you'll get to see different things on the walls and maybe a few awards or two that I've won over the years. If you've also noticed, I'm still wearing the hat. So I haven't cut my hair in so long. Still don't have the courage to do that and don't really want to mess it up myself. So we got a gray and black chia pet thing going on under this hat that I'm not ready to reveal to the world. I have shaved though, so that's one thing that I can do. So I have been shaving. But in terms of my hair, still not ready to get that cut just yet. Even though my wife and my daughter and my son are saying, "Hey, Dad, it's really time for you to go to the barber shop." So maybe by the next time we do the video, another one, I'll have the haircut. But alas, you did not come here to listen to my hair issues or my office setup. You probably came to get some relevant medtech information and to discuss today's topic, which I'm calling the return of the billion-dollar deal. I don't know if many of you have been paying attention, or many of you have noticed this trend. But in the last few months in this pandemic era, we've had some significant mergers and acquisitions. We've had some billion-dollar deals. I'm looking at my notes right now. I'm looking at my screen, and we have the Siemens Healthineers acquiring Varian Medical Systems for 16.5 billion, and we also have Teladoc coming out and announcing that it would acquire Livongo for about 18.5 billion. That's some hefty change, and that's a huge deal. It's a big deal and it's a huge deal at the same time. See what I did there? Couple things to say about these deals and why they're happening now. First of all, I want to kind of look at the Teladoc and Livongo deal first. For those of you who don't know, Livongo had a diabetes management platform. They could give insight to users, and bar none, the company was performing very well since it went public a few years. I think it was last year. I will have to look that up and get back to you on that. For shame, Omar, you should know when Livongo went public. You should know that. Don't know it off the top of my head. But the important thing about Livongo is this was a company that wasn't struggling. It was a company that constantly impressed investors. Analysts had nothing but good things to say about it. Was performing very well, and Teladoc just scooped them up. Now, the interesting thing about this, I had an interview with someone with a rival of Livongo the day that the announcement was made about the acquisition, the proposed acquisition, and they were telling me that even though Livongo was doing really well, and that this was a great this was a great deal for Teladoc. Even though this was the case, investors didn't want Livongo to be gobbled up, and there was proof of that because if you saw the stocks went down for that day because they felt as if Livongo was doing really well and they didn't want to vacuum this soon. So I'm looking at it and I'm looking at this deal, and it is a significant deal size. And it deals with it's in the diabetes realm, and it also deals with, it also swirls around this idea of virtual care. And virtual care is, first of all, let's back up. The word virtual right now is where it's at. Everyone is gravitating towards virtual, something or something virtual. My kids are doing virtual learning right now. Whew, let me tell you about that. I could spend a whole other video talking to you about that. But this idea of virtual care is swelling, and we're seeing it in healthcare, we're seeing it in education, we're seeing it all across the board. Because of COVID-19, the virtual care landscape is really, really thriving right now. And people don't want to necessarily go into the office anymore. They don't want to go to the doctor's office if they can. They want to be seen. They want to be checked out. They want care exactly where they are. They want a chance to communicate with their provider without actually going in, risking getting germs or being potentially infected with COVID-19 or with a virus. So we're seeing this groundswell of virtual care in the pandemic era. And Teladoc has been booming as well, doing really well. But with this merger, and this was incredible because it happened, I want to say it happened just a few days after it was announced a few days after the Siemens Healthineers Varian deal was announced. And when I saw it, I was blown away. First of all, Livongo shocked me because I was like, wow, I didn't think Livongo would be picked up. I would think that if anything happened, a company, Livongo would be doing the acquisitions because Livongo was just doing so incredibly well. And it was in let me back up a little bit. Livongo went public 2019 on a $350 million IPO. Okay, just wanted to clarify that and bring that up. So I found it. So points for me, I guess. But when I saw this deal come across, again, it was incredible. And here I'm thinking that companies would try to hold on to all their capital, hold on to all their assets, and this wouldn't necessarily be the time where we would see deals like this. Maybe tuck-in acquisitions, perhaps, smaller deals for companies. I know Medtronic mentioned a few weeks or a few months ago that they would go after small tuck-in deals. They said it during an earnings call, and they mentioned that they would be going, that M&A was definitely an option. They favor the small tuck-in deals. So I thought we would see more of those because I didn't think anyone would shell out any big dollars because of all this uncertainty. But here is what I'm seeing from this. This is what I'm reading from the Livongo deal, the Livongo Teladoc deal. I think in terms of capital, in terms of opportunity, it's kind of lopsided. In places where it used to be dry, there's rich opportunity now. And in places where there was once rich opportunity, it's a little dried up, it's a little more refrained, a little more restrained. So Livongo is, not that it was performing well, that's not what we're saying at all. Livongo's value increased tenfold, in my opinion, based on the issue that COVID-19 presents, or the challenges that COVID-19 presents. I want to rewind a little bit and talk about that and unpack that a little bit more. When we have the diseases such as diabetes, We have cardiovascular disease. If many of you notice, a lot of elective procedures, a lot of things at the beginning when the pandemic first struck, they were put on hold. Well, here's the truth. If you're a diabetic, if you're struggling with diabetes, if you have any type of issue like that, you realize just because there's a pandemic, your diabetes isn't on hold. You still have to manage it. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It keeps going. So there needs to be some type of solution. There needs to be some type of, there's an opportunity that comes about for companies that have these virtual ways to manage chronic illnesses such as diabetes. There's a huge opportunity. Teladoc saw the writing on the wall. Teladoc is growing itself. It's also getting stronger. It's seeing more opportunities. They saw Livongo. Livongo's consistently been hitting it out of the park. Just really look up all my old stories, and I'll include some links here in the YouTube in the comment section. I will do that so you all can see. But Livongo has been a pretty straight shooter for most of the time and been doing really well. So when you see that, when you see that opportunity and you see this deal come together, yes, it can be a bit shocking, but at the same time, this is the prime time to do this. And it takes away a little bit of that, wow, that I wasn't sure that a company would make such an acquisition during this time period. It takes away a little bit of that thought, and you're like, okay, I understand. The time is ripe now. This market is booming, and this looks like it's going to be the way that we're headed in healthcare, to virtual. So it's almost a no-brainer. It's almost a no-brainer. Now, with that being said, I want to switch over to the Siemens Healthineers Varian Medical Systems deal, and that was for $16.5 billion. I did not see this one coming. Didn't see this one coming. Hadn't heard anything about it. You know, it helps Siemens out an incredible amount. You know, it's definitely something that the company needed, and it opens them up. It really opens them up, gives them a larger runway into cancer care. But for the most part, this one kind of came, out of nowhere. It was a pretty big deal. And I was shocked by it a bit, simply because we had the pandemic, and my mindset would be, okay, are companies really going to tighten their belts around this time? Is this really a time for billion-dollar medtech deals? Are we going to see them? And just to give a bit of background, billion-dollar medtech deals are few and far between. They happen more so in pharma. Yes, they happen in medtech, but not all that much. But it seems this summer, this has been the summer of the billion-dollar deal. I'm looking at another article that I pulled up. Invitae made a move to acquire Archer DX, a genomic analysis company, in a deal valued at $1.4 billion. Wow, we're no longer in the millions. I can remember my colleague Amanda Peterson and I, whenever we would write a story and we'll see a deal, $600 million or $700 million. That was a fairly substantial deal. That was really big news. That dollar amount was significant. But now it seems we've reached another level where the billion-dollar medtech deal is becoming more and more common. And I remember having a conversation with Amanda not too long ago. Maybe it was a year or so ago. I don't remember. Time works real funny now in the pandemic era. I can't tell my days apart sometime, which isn't good. But I was talking to her about it and just saying how the deals now seem to, the bar for the deals seem to be getting a little bit higher, and that $600 or $700 million deal is where it's at. But now that we're reaching the billion-dollar deal mark, and it's happening more frequently, and we've seen about 3 announced this summer. It's really something to think about. It's really something to kind of sit back and ask ourselves what's going on in the market. Why are these happening? You know, I thought we would see some in diagnostics. I'm not going to lie, and we have in some sense we have. I thought that most of the deals would be in diagnostics, but they're not. Livongo is a perfect example of that, but it's more diabetes management. But here's what I will say, because I'm rambling a little bit now, so I need to get back on point. Need to get back on point. Here's what I will say. With this, with what we're seeing in medtech right now, it seems like, and I'm no analyst by any means, this is just a journalist's opinion. Can a journalist have an opinion? That's a topic for another day. But I'm rambling. What we're seeing here with these billion-dollar deals is we're seeing that companies have the assets to do this. They have the capital to do this, to acquire these assets. And they're moving forward, and they're moving fast. And it's across different disciplines and sectors, not just with diagnostics. And do I think we'll see more of them? I think so. This is my personal opinion. And I'm not talking about tuck-in deals. I'm talking about major mergers and acquisitions like this. I think we're going to see more, because we just saw about 3 this summer. 3 that were announced this summer. So yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit more. Now, what are the M&A targets? Who will be acquired? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But I think companies are going to try to get ahead of the curve. And what I mean by get ahead of the curve is they're going to try to get to a point where they think healthcare is going, or where healthcare will be. And so they're going to pick up these innovative companies like Livongo to get there. Because let's be honest, Livongo, and I know I'm picking at Livongo a lot, I know I am, but Livongo was ahead of the curve. Look at their stats, look at what they were doing. At first, I couldn't quite get what Livongo was doing when I was first introduced to the company, when I first found out about them. But that's only because they were so far ahead, and I was thinking so far behind. But companies are going to put up that capital to get these companies that are thinking outside of the box, on the cusp of innovation, and that are really moving us into where we will be at past or beyond the pandemic era, the COVID-19 era. So looking forward, I think the billion-dollar deals are going to be more frequent, and I think we're going to see some pop out, some pop up again in the near future. Anyhow, those are my thoughts. Let me know if you think I'm right. Let me know if you think I'm on the money. Let me know if you think I'm just full of it, don't know what I'm talking about, and should take a nap. But anyhow, good talking to you all, and hope that you tune in next time, and I hope you got something out of this. All right, that's it. Bye.